where the pilot will
and then of course the main engine nozzles as well.
See, there, Miles, you're seeing the gimbaling that I was talking about, three bells going around.
We'll do a pre-programmed series of maneuvers as a final test before launch.
They do have quite a fair amount of freedom, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see them on the screen now. I mean, it is quite a range of motions. I don't remember the exact number, but it's, you know, you have to have a lot of control authority to steer that stack with the solids burning. And
the solids don't have as much steering capability, is that right?
Say again, Miles?
The solids don't have as much steerage as the mains, correct?
Right. Right. You're right. They have gimbaling capability, and I believe it's somewhere in the I think it's around 5 degrees. And as you saw, the orbiter mains, they swing through a wider angle than that.
All right, 2:30 and counting. Everything sounds good. I have not heard anything on the loops that would indicate any trouble. The beanie cap, the gaseous oxygen vent hood, removed from the top of the tank. You don't want to forget to do that. That'll be a problem. That would get in your way in a big way, wouldn't it?
That's right. There's the arm retracting the beanie.
Well, at this point, it looks like we're going to have a nice launch tonight, Miles. Beautiful skies, clear from clouds.
Hey, if you're on the East Coast of the United States of America and you have a clear night, I invite you to watch the launch with us, and then, depending on how far away you are from us, go outside, take a peek.
Message us online if you saw it. Now, we know you in Florida saw it, but up the coast, Georgia,
you won't be able to miss it, trust me.
Any of you, all the way up to New York, Maine, message us if you see it. And in a minute, 30 seconds to counting, everything's good. All right, now at that 1 minute mark, Miles.
Let's listen to Mike Curie.
The booster joint heaters are being deactivated at this time. T-minus 50 seconds. Transitioning to orbital internal power. Discovery is now running off of its 3 onboard fuel cells. T-minus 38 seconds and counting. Coming up on a go for auto sequence start at T-minus 31 seconds.
CLS is go for auto sequence start.
And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions. T-minus 20 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. The sound suppression water system has been activated.
CLS is go for main engine start.
We have a go for main engine start. Engine start. 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery, celebrating its 25th birthday by racking up science and supplies to the space station.
Houston now controlling the midnight ride of Rick Sturckow and his crew to the International Space Station. Discovery rolling onto the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Outpost. Into the flight. The 3 liquid fuel main engines soon will throttle back to 72% of rated performance down in the bucket, reducing the stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic. Discovery 3.5 miles in altitude, 4 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. Standing by for the throttle up call now from Capcom Eric Bowe. The throttle up call acknowledged by Commander Rick Sturckow, joined on the flight deck by pilot Kevin Ford, flight engineer Jose Hernandez, and Pat Forrester. Seated down on the middeck are Danny Olivas, Christopher Fugelsang of the European Space Agency, and Nicole Stott, hitching a ride for 3 months on the International Space Station. 1 minute 30 seconds into the flight. All of Discovery systems performing normally. 17 miles in altitude, 18 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. One minute 50 seconds into the flight. Standing by for solid rocket booster separation.
Beautiful shot there.
Solid rocket booster separation. That's a moment that every crew member must take a little bit of a sigh of relief, right, Leroy?
Oh, that's right. And, you know, because, of course, the solids were the cause of the Challenger accident, and at that moment when they come off, not only is that a kind of a moment of relief, but the ride gets just instantly smooth.
So at this point, when you're sitting inside, what are you feeling?
Well, like I said, it's a pretty abrupt change from the shaking of first stage to second stage when the solids come off. In fact, the first time that I flew, and Jim Halsell was the PLT on that flight, and we compared notes later, we both instantly looked at the engine tapes because it got so smooth we thought all the engines had stopped. But fortunately, they were in the green and still burning.
Discovery now traveling in excess of 5,500 miles an hour at 3 minutes into its ride uphill. How's that for acceleration? You're feeling some G's now, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be getting the big G's in a few minutes as you go into 3G throttling. You know, right now you're out of most of the thick part of the atmosphere, so the shuttle does start to heel over, and it actually loses a little bit altitude as it starts accelerating. So the G's are starting to build, and then the engines will throttle to 3G's for structural reasons. You know, you've got that stack there with the shuttle on top of the tank. And then that 3G you'll maintain that until main engine cutoff.
So 3G, about the feeling you get on a roller coaster just for one moment as you round a curve. Those are usually 3 or 4 Gs roughly, but this is sustained.
That's right, and that's an important difference. It's sustained. It's not uncomfortable. I mean, it feels like someone's kind of sitting on your chest. Takes a little bit of extra effort to breathe, but it's not uncomfortable.
Discovery, negative return.
That's a good call. Negative return, that means no matter what happens, they won't have to do an abort that would send them back here to the shuttle landing facility. That's a good milestone, right, Leroy?
Absolutely. That's a good feeling. The RTLS, the return to launch site abort, has never been tested. It's been analyzed. It's supposed to work. But at one point of that profile, you're flying backwards with the engines burning at full throttle at 4.5 times the speed of sound going backwards through your own plume. So it's going to be no fun if you ever have to do it.
Not a moment you'd want to have.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that's not a great idea.
Well, the analysis says it'll work, and so you know, it's a viable abort scenario, but we'd rather not test it if we don't have to.
Why don't you try it first, then, Leroy? We'll see how.
Right.
Let us know how it goes. Right now, Discovery is traveling about 7,200 miles an hour. At this point, we're about to get a call called press to ATO. That's abort to orbit, which means, Leroy, if they lose an engine, they are still going to get to orbit, right?
That's right. And, yeah, you lose an engine, and it's happened once before, and the vehicle has enough speed and enough altitude that it can make it into orbit, a lower orbit, with the 2 remaining engines burning.
All right, press ATO. They just did. ISTRIS is the transatlantic abort site.
Dylan, can we actually hear a little bit of NASA on the air there? If you're just looking at that shot, that is a shot from the external tank camera with the orbiter on top. You're looking at the external tank on the bottom there, and just the main engines.
What does single engine op 3 mean, Leroy?
That